You guys are not gonna believe this, but my right hand is actually a parasitic life form that can turn into one badass weapon. Here, I'll show you. Alright, Robert, do your thing. Come on, man, don't be shy. Everybody's waiting. Don't make me look like a jackass now. Come on, transform. He's just a little shy, guys. Just give him a minute. He's letting the blood flow right now. Come on, you son of a bitch. Transform! Okay, I'm done fucking around. Either you transform right this second, or I swear to Jeebus, I'm gonna blow your goddamn head off. You hear me, Rob? What? No, I wasn't threatening my right hand. That's crazy talk. Never mind that, guys. But hey, it's the Black Critic Guy, and I'm here today to review the anime Parasyte, the Maxim. Now, the anime Parasyte begins with the arrival of these unknown parasitic beings that take over a host's brain, control them, and then begins devouring humans. We then follow Shinichi Izumi, an average high school boy who gets one of those parasites stuck into his right arm, and it now inhabits what was once his right arm. And he later names it Migi, which also means right hand. Oh, so clever. Not really. And now he must learn to live with said parasite while also keeping it a secret from his loved ones, as well as deal with the many other parasites that threaten his life and the lives of people around him. Now, this was the second highly requested anime for me to watch and review this month, and I've been pretty intrigued to check it out as I've heard a lot of great things about it, and I do find the concept of the anime really unique. So, needless to say, I was really looking forward to checking this out. And after watching the anime in its entirety, I have to say, I am 2 for 2 on great anime, because this is another really solid and interesting anime. But I'm not the only one that's 2 for 2 here, as Madhouse, the same animation studio behind Death Parade, which also came out this year, delivers excellent animation once again, with solid character designs, especially with the designs of the parasites themselves. Excellent job there. Vivid colors and fast-paced animated action. And speaking of that, most of the action sequences in this anime were exciting and very thrilling to watch, though they do get a bit gruesome at times. I mean, people get decapitated, they get sliced into pieces. It's pretty damn gory, so if you can't stand the sight of blood, yeah, I think you might want to skip this one. The voice acting was solid as well, with the Japanese voice cast being able to pull off different vocal ranges to emphasize either monotone with the parasites or emotion with the humans, particularly the person that voices our main character, Shinichi, as he has to go back and forth with both. And yes, sorry dub fans, but there is no English dub for this anime as of yet, but give it time. I'm pretty sure they're working on a deal right now. The music in the anime is very good, as it captures the somewhat melancholic tone of the anime, particularly the opening theme, which sounds like a person that's in anguish, like they're just in pain and they're screaming out, literally, and the score Next to You, which plays prevalently throughout the series. It's that piano one that goes ding 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 ding. It's really just melancholic in tone and very lovely. Next, the concept and story. Now, many of you may argue that the concept itself is nothing original or even unique, as many sci-fi stories have tackled this subject before. But it's not the concept and story itself that makes the anime unique, but rather the direction they take the concept and story. And I'll explain. Usually, with sci-fi-esque stories like this, it's very one note in its storytelling, very us versus them mentality throughout the entire story, and it mostly just shows one perspective of the events that are occurring, and it usually falls under the human's perspective of the events in the story. But in this anime, although they still do have the us versus them mentality throughout the story, you at least get insight as to why both sides see it that way, and you do get both perspectives, the humans and the parasites. Not only that, but the story, to some degree, does not pick a side. It doesn't show one side as inherently bad and the other side as inherently good. The lines are blurred. I mean, really ask yourselves, after watching this anime completely, were the parasites actually evil? Or were they just doing what came naturally to them? But that's not the only question the anime story brings up. It also addresses many existential questions throughout the entire anime. Like, what is our reason for living? Why were we made? Why are we here? And can we coexist? Questions like that pop up prevalently throughout the anime. And I, for one, found that to be very refreshing. But even with all those added elements, the story in its entirety is quite enthralling, and actually, if you think about it, tells an unconventional superhero story. I mean, seriously, think about it. The main character, Shinichi, is an average guy who gets endowed with all these super abilities, i.e. the Parasyte, and goes around saving people from the terror, but also hiding his identity and the fact that he has the powers. You see the parallels here? You can thank Wikipedia for putting that thought in my head. And finally, the characters. They were solid. Most of them I was really invested in, and some of them got some really good development. But in my honest opinion, the best characters throughout the entire anime were the parasites. Each and every one of them, they were just so freaking fascinating. And it's not because of their design or how badass they look, but because of their search for purpose and meaning. Without giving too much away, it was very intriguing to see their evolution in the anime. My personal favorite, and probably the best parasite in the entire anime, besides of course Migi, was this girl, Talia Ryuko. And again, I can't divulge too much information as it would ruin elements of the story and her character. But just take my word for it, she is a very fascinating character. Keep your eyes on her. But that's not to say that our boy Wonder MC Shinichi has nothing to offer. On the contrary, not only is he a well-developed and interesting character, but he also gives us a human's perspective on the world of the parasites and their actions. He doesn't fully agree with it, but he sort of understands as the series goes on, and he goes through a lot in this series, guys. Like, holy crap, the shit he has to deal with is just traumatizing. And the character himself also goes through a lot of physical and mental changes as the series goes on. I really enjoyed the times that he spent with his family, and they do develop that relationship rather well, but my personal favorite and probably the most dynamic relationship in the entire anime is Shinichi and Migi. And what makes this relationship so dynamic and unique is the clashing personalities. You got Shinichi, whose behavior and actions are more humanistic. You know, he wants to save people. He doesn't want to cause much harm or much destruction. He's all about protecting. Whereas Migi's actions and personality is more animalistic. He'll do whatever it takes to survive, which most animals do. The only reason he protects Shinichi is because that's his lifeline. He gets his sustenance from Shinichi, so he has to survive, but it's mostly about him. He protects himself. And it's just this interesting clash throughout the entire anime of perspectives and how you should view things. That's what makes them so freaking interesting. Now, although this anime is overall great, there are two issues with it that does kind of bog it down. The first big issue is that although they handled the existential themes rather well, the other themes came off as too blatant and downright preachy. The biggest offender being the whole "men are bad, humanity is the cause of destruction in this world, they need to be eradicated" speech that's used quite often in the anime. This was the only times in the anime where the story does pick a side and paints humanity as the evil ones. And my problem with this is not that they used it, even though it is extremely cliche and they use it in so many freaking environmental films and animes, pressing the message that we're to blame for everything, which is some truth, but not all of it. It's just too one-sided to say something like that. But it's the way that they said it. With the existential themes, they do bring it up, blatantly, but some of it is really subtle. Like, you want to ask yourself and think about it. With this one, there is no subtlety. It's just, hey, it's all your fault. Screw you, mankind. And nobody wants to be talked down to or preached at. It makes them feel like shit. But again, going back to my biggest issue is that they could have showed mankind's evilness without having to point it out to us like mankind's evil. In fact, they were doing a rather good job in a certain scene that happens later on in the anime where it is like, oh yeah, that's terrible. But then they ruin it by saying, yeah, you're evil. Look at you guys. Look what you're doing. I'm like, no. Show, don't tell. And my last big issue with this anime, which a lot of people might disagree with me on or hate me for saying, is with the character Satomi. She just came off as a really one-dimensional character. There was nothing really interesting about her character. She doesn't really help in the story. It doesn't really help our main character. And I don't really feel a strong bond or connection between her and Shinichi. All she ever does in the anime is whine, cry, complain, act all emotional, get all flustered. She doesn't have any other range of emotions. I don't think I've ever saw her laugh or get excited. I mean, the first episode was the only time you actually see her having a personality. She was playful, she was energetic, she was a bit of a tsundere, and she was a bit emotional. But as the series progressed, she just became that one-note emotional girlfriend. And you want to know the most ironic thing about this statement? The Parasytes, the monotone, emotionless characters, were more three-dimensional than this human character. How fucking crazy is that? In my honest opinion, they should have removed the bland Satomi and replaced her with Kana or Yuko, who were far more interesting as characters than she was, and would have made an interesting love interest for Shinichi, as they do help out in the story. But guys, overall, even with those two issues, I cannot deny that Parasyte is a great anime and one that I think you all should go check out, because I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is definitely one hell of an anime. But anyway, what did you guys think of this anime? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Or were you like a Parasyte and you just were really monotone and you didn't care for it? And as always, I would like for you guys to describe Parasyte in 4 words. Comment below and let me know, and I'll pick my favorite responses for the next episode of BCG Ask Black Critic Crew, which will come out after the Inside Out one and the Battle Cry one. So stay tuned for that, and I hope to review Dope probably tomorrow, as I am seeing it today with a friend, so stay tuned for that. And until the next video comes, guys, if you would like to be a part of the Black Critic Crew and not miss out on a single awesome video, hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'm 21 the second, hopefully not being controlled by a Parasyte right now, as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.